Today's video is brought to you by Squarespace. More on them a little bit later. Welcome back to Mecha March Madness. So mad, it's not even March. But who cares? There's a new Sonic robot, baby! Another Sonic cartoon means another robot double. And as always, I am here for it. We'll get into my general thoughts on the second season another time, definitely over on Sunset City. Be sure you subscribe. But for now, we gotta talk about the brand new Metal Sonic. Or at least that's what people were calling this thing when the season 2 trailer dropped. But yeah, while there are obvious comparisons to be made, this is clearly a brand new robot. If you couldn't tell from most of his face being a screen, this is actually Chaos Sonic, brought into existence after one of the Eggman of the Chaos Council tricks Nines into inspiring the idea of pitting Sonic against an adversary that can surpass his speed, power, and thought process. At this point, they have control of 3 of the Prism Shards, and with the press of a button, they just create a new robot out of that energy. If you've not seen Sonic Prime and none of that explanation makes any sense, this is an alternate universe Robotnik that created an alternate universe Metal Sonic with magic rocks. There you go. And that probably is the best way to describe this robot's design. You can see in the silhouette, the yellow accents, the jet on the back, and color placement, this is clearly based on the original Metal Sonic. But there are other elements here that help Chaos stand out on his own. That aforementioned screen face being the most prominent feature. Looks almost like a bike helmet and serves as a sad reminder that Daft Punk has disbanded. And those LED eyes are a great way to show expression without compromising that sleek design. He has no mouth, but must be really annoying. We'll get back to that shortly. That screen face leads to an interesting quill design on the back, and ears that pop out through the glass. Got ball joint shoulders and interesting little designs on the wrists, but the main body, again, is pretty similar to Metal Sonic, maybe slightly bulkier. Like I already said, there's a jetpack on the back, but this robot does not hover like the mainline robot. He instead runs, and in heels. Very impressive. Slay, Queen! Overall, I think the design is alright. A lot of unique elements we haven't seen in any other robot copy, but like other Robot Sonics, I do hope we can eventually see some concept art for this particular design. Especially since we know Nick Cole is working on this show. If you're not familiar with his work, go check it out. He did all of those redesigns for the Spyro Reignited trilogy. Don't know if he designed this robot or somebody else, but either way, I would like to see how this particular design came to be. But yeah, what we have, pretty cool. I was excited to see this robot in action, and going by the reaction to the initial second season trailer, looked like other people were as well, right up until he spoke.
It's a fur bag!
Not only does he talk, but he's really annoying, which I think is the point. This is supposed to be a Sonic that's faster, more powerful, and even sassier than the real thing. To the point that Sonic himself is irritated with this robot. Of course, acknowledging that doesn't make the robot any less irritating. So I understand why a lot of fans aren't exactly enjoying this particular robot. For me though, I don't know, I guess I'm fine with it. I think partially because of my horrible friends over on Sunset City. I know my buddy Channel Pup really wanted to see a Metal Sonic with a bit of attitude, and that's exactly what this is, but I also agree with my buddy Wayne, who has described Chaos Sonic as being written the same way as Deadpool was in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. I do have to agree, I feel like a lot of Sonic Prime is hovering around that level of quality in terms of humor. But again, I see what they were going for here, even if it doesn't always land. I do like the idea of Chaos Sonic being this sassy, almost cute character with sinister intent behind all of it. I like how he even mocks characters in the way he fights, like sitting down on a bench in the middle of a battle. Whatever other critique I have with this character or the show, they do a great job of expressing these characters through action. The voice work is a little confusing. Devin Mack does the voice as you'd expect, and it does sound like he is enjoying himself and that energy does come through. But there are times when it feels like he's trying to do a Brooklyn accent, and then later on in the episode feels like they dropped it. And while I do think that screen face is creative and they do a pretty good job of balancing the cute and the cruel, I do think they needed to lean a little bit more into the cruel on occasion. That screen face and the eyes are just a little bit too cute. That's a screen. You can make that robot a little bit scarier in more serious moments. Kids show, yeah, but there's a good idea here that really could have stood out with just a bit more polish. I don't know, maybe that helps this thing stand out from Metal Sonic. I think that juxtaposition between the cute and the cruel was partially actually the point. The story deals with the Shatterverse Eggman, and if, like a lot of fans are assuming, it turns out the Chaos Council are just Eggman split into 5 different personalities, I think it's cool that even in a universe where Metal Sonic never existed, one of these Eggmen still came up with something similar to Metal Sonic. This is a robot made by an incomplete Eggman, or at the very least, a slightly different Eggman who came up with a slightly different robot Sonic. And annoying personality or not, Chaos Sonic did give our heroes a tough fight, taking on Sonic, Rouge, and 2 Knuckles at the same time. He was bested at a couple of points, like during his race against Sonic, being led into a collision with a dump truck, or being double-fisted by the 2 Knuckles. But those were only temporary delays. They never had him down for too long. And I will say that race through New York City did give me some Stardust Speedway vibes, which was kinda cool. Chaos Sonic was only taken out after he was tricked yet again by Sonic in a chase that led him face to face with the very prism energy that gave him life to begin with. The blast knocks Chaos Sonic into busted pieces, and that's that for the robot. And yeah, while he didn't last too long, at least in these set of episodes, he could always come back, and he didn't have much in the way of unique powers or abilities, he was still a tough robot. Sonic could not take him out on his own. Chaos Sonic was indeed faster and stronger. Sonic had to rely on his friends to take this sucker out. And that kind of reminded me of Shard, or to be more specific, Archie's Metal Sonic before Ian Flynn went in and made the robot a good character. There too, we got a robot copy that already saw himself as Sonic's superior, because he was better, faster, stronger. Man, this robot is really making me miss Daft Punk. But in that case, Archie's Metal Sonic was evolving beyond his core programming, and would eventually finish that evolution with Shard. Chaos Sonic, on the other hand, just gets blowed up. I probably should not have made a straight-up comparison between Chaos Sonic and Shard on Twitter. Sorry, everybody. I was talking about the overall history of the character, and I just put the label of Shard on there. And that site is not a great spot to really analyze a character and get into the nitty-gritty. I really should have been more specific. But yeah, I was thinking about the evolution of Shard. I mean, I did just do that video a couple months ago. And I do know that this show does consult Ian Flynn. And I do think I was as light as I have been on this character because, I don't know, I guess I really want Shard in some form. And while Chaos Sonic is annoying now, it would be pretty cool if they just let Ian Flynn evolve a robot into the closest approximation of Shard we can possibly get. I'm sorry, I just really like that character. Whatever the case, there are some obvious parallels to make, but I have made this Mecha March Madness stuff an annual marathon for a reason. There are only so many directions you can take the personality of a robot copy, and there have been plenty of sassy Sonic robot doubles in the history of this franchise. Chaos Sonic just kind of reminds me of one of my favorites. Now, whether or not Chaos Sonic ever evolves into Shard, or just stays scrap, or just comes back and is annoying again, we just have to wait and see. His pieces were collected at the end of his episode, so it wouldn't be too surprising to see his return. But this episode also kind of just made me wish the proper Metal Sonic turned up in all of his sinister glory. I know he's got the OVA, and he had a little bit of time in Boom, but I'm sorry, I love Metal Sonic, and I would love to see him actually interact with these characters. But I'll get into more of that particular critique about the show itself another time. But speaking of Metal Sonic, I know some people are up in arms about Sonic Prime and its place in the holy game canon. I'm not really all that stressed about it, but it does still leave me curious. If Prime is meant to take place in the same universe as all the games, it is a little weird that Sonic did not make any kind of reference to Metal Sonic when he was first introduced to Chaos Sonic. Even if Prime takes place earlier in Sonic's life, they clearly show Amy in her modern design. And Sonic Origins has recently established that Sonic CD takes place right after the first game. And no matter whether or not you agree on the placement of that game, it's pretty obviously established that Sonic has met Metal Sonic well before almost all of his friends. So yeah, it does feel a little weird that there is zero mention of Sonic interacting with another robot copy of him. Also feels a little weird that Chaos Sonic was such a big problem for the Hedgehog through this entire episode. He should be used to fighting robot clones at this point. But I also get it, you need your tension and drama. You couldn't just introduce this robot and make him a pushover. But all of that said, I don't know. I'm a sucker for Sonic robots. I'm just happy there's another one here. And the constant chatter got under my skin on occasion, but overall, I do like Chaos Sonic. I'm a simple creature, I don't care. This robot might get a bit more attention in future episodes. If the toys do well, it'll probably get an action figure, and I assume it'll get some love on the mobile games, but outside of that, I think this is all we're gonna get of Chaos Sonic, because the franchise will always default back to metal. And for good reason. I do still think that bot is the best of the bunch. But I do love that there are a bunch, and I love that some Sonic shows get their very own robots. Chaos Sonic will have his fans, and they will miss him once he's gone, if he isn't completely gone already. So yeah, there you go. That's Chaos Sonic, the latest in a long line of Sonic robots. Not perfect, but I don't think anybody was setting out to top Metal Sonic. It was just a nice change of pace from the standard. It reminded me of a character that we may never see again, and I dearly miss. And for me, at the very least, this was a welcome change up from what we had going on in the show leading up to that point. But I'll get more into that when I talk about Season 2 itself. Before we wrap up for today, I want to take a moment to talk about today's sponsor, Squarespace. Jumping online and building up your own brand was always an intimidating thing for me, but Squarespace makes that a streamlined, fast, and easy process, all while making you look good thanks to their Fluid Engine, a next-generation website design tool that lets you tweak any of their many templates with easy-to-use drag-and-drop tools. And I don't need to tell you how useful websites can be, whether you want to build up a portfolio of your work, an art gallery, or a shop, because yes, they have everything you need to run your own online business, including analytics that help show you the strongest avenues of growth and help you build up marketing strategies, which include integration with your favorite social media networks. And they can even help you set up an online shop to sell and distribute custom merch. All you have to do is design it, and they'll handle production, inventory, and shipping. Really doesn't get any easier than that. And to make it just a bit easier, if you use my link, squarespace.com/gameapologist, you'll get 14 days for free, which is plenty of time to see if this is right for you. And when you want to make a purchase, that same link will get you 10% off your first order. Thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring the video. Before I head on out, I do want to thank the amazing patrons who help support the channel, including Kyle Winter, Cyrus the Skeptic, Joseph Duncan Sonic 2 Blue, John, Josh Strider, Chaos Casey, Hatsworth, Tiny Jericho, Ginger Bob, Jack of All Spades, Tristan Trap. That was a fly! I swear to God, if it shows up in the audio, I'm going to lose my mind. I cannot. It's been flying around all day. I can't do anything about it. So I guess this episode is guest starring the Fly. Where was I? All right, Tristan Trap, Meekers, Dun Dun, Quote, Resident Fanboy, Miles the Prower, Jeremy Singer, Mr. Boo J, Sam Webster, Fish Flop, Lucas Lipker, The Bad Pal, Jonathan Dobbs, Haley, Dr. SP here. I owned a water park. I named it Hydrocity just to make sure people pronounce it right. Well done, Dr. SP. Cecil the Gallade, The Dark Neon, Stefan Platonica, 3 Monic, Graham J. Hall, Lenny X, Wayne is Boss, Ledric, David 20 Covers is here to 20 your covers. Hi, Nick. Hi, David. Jimmy Duke STR, The Lumberjack, NBTV, Trash Baphomet, Autumn from Twitter.com, Jin Sayotame, Bowden, no, I'm not reading that, Interjack 5, Grayson Coniger, Spades the Nocturne, Ken K, Ven 101, Paxton Bizbeast, and Darren 7, Haru Specs 3 Rule 4, Twilord, did you know the skin on your elbow is called the ween? I'm sorry. The fly actually landed on me. I didn't even smack the fly, I just smacked the microphone. Paisley, Eric Delgado, Kodinsky, Jamo Art, Sayonara Robocop, Crimson Rose. Sorry about all the chaos with the names. You can just call me Nix. Again, you can just write out Nix, and I'll just read Nix. Sonic PAJ, Moonicent, Roxas the Cat, Godzilla, Makuta of Salt. There was a scream from the floorboard. Oh my. Is that like a lyric, or is that just something happening in your house? Because, oh dear. Alexander Watson, Neil Gampa, Conan Kudo, Sharif Pi, Aeon 3 Valafor, the Lex, the most powerful ship in the 2 universes, Native Nerd 27, Kaido Prower, Spearmint, Kimitra's Prower, Omega Man 21, Penn Adelaide, Other Envelope, Jamie Torres Jr., The Phantomist, Silver Stars, Daza S, and the world's most unironic 8.5 Tails Stan. Is that 9? Is that 9 from Sonic Prime? Is that like a different character? Is there a character out there called 8.5? Because that'd be great. Anyway, that's going to do it. I'm very sorry for the delay on the Sonic Origins Plus video. I've been writing a lot on that. I don't know if I want to get into a Season 2 video. There's not a lot I have to say about it. That's kind of why I did this video. We'll see how I feel after we wrap up the latest episode of Sunset City, where we will definitely be talking about that in greater detail. But yeah, that's going to do it for today. Catch you guys very soon. Toot toot, Sonic Warriors.